Are you tired of the mainstream media lying to you every single day? You are not alone. Millions of other Americans are sick of the corporate media fake news of the MSNBC, CNN, ABC, NBC, New York Times, other Times, Washington Post, Political. Every single one of them are in the bag for the Democrats. They are all Team DNC. But now you have another option in independent creators like here on the CASHLOREN show. Well, we will go and we will expose the deep state, these unelected bureaucrats, and the mainstream media, along with the Democrats and their friends in the Rhino Uniparty, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Get the facts on the CASHLOREN show. I am your host, America's Truth Teller, shining a bright red light on the corruption and the hoaxes from the mainstream media and the Democrat Party. You're not going to want to miss a single moment. Join the American First Movement Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. This is the CASHLOREN show.
In 2025, we find ourselves in a pivotal moment where the call for unity, freedom, and a better future echoes louder than ever. For more than 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been committed to supporting the values that make our nation great. With affordable plans and reliable nationwide coverage on all three of the major networks, Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless service, it's a call to action for those who believe in the American dream. Choose a wireless carrier that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Well, the left is on their absolute last leg now as the Donald Trump administration is continuing to pack up win after win after win, no matter how much they try to fight him. Whether they go with their eggs hoaxes or the stock market hoaxes or how the economy is going to tank hoaxes, every single one they try to do to Donald Trump has backfired on the left. It's because their entire administration is built on a lie. And as it goes here, we have now Jessica Tarlov, who is embarrassing herself every night on Fox News, but this time she really takes the cake. And she's going to go on and she's going to get really upset because people like you are not falling for this Jeffrey Epstein hoax that they're trying to push on you, the American people. And what I find really interesting about Jeffrey Epstein, what's happened here is I don't know exactly what happened. I believe something happened, something criminal. I don't think Maxwell is in prison for trafficking kids, and then there not being anybody that should traffic them too. Or who knows what else they were doing with women. Well, this whole push at conveniently, when the Democrats had power for 4 years and did absolutely nothing with the Epstein list, and now that Donald Trump, he is in office, all of a sudden they're like, Epstein, 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 Epstein. And this is all just before the whole Barack Hussein Obama conspiracy comes out. So what Barack Hussein Obama did with Spygate and Russia is the worst hoax and probably the biggest conspiracy against the American voters, maybe in our history. I mean, this makes Watergate look like nothing. And now the files are being released. We can prove what we've known for years, that they tried, being the Barack Hussein Obama administration, tried to usurp Donald Trump's authority in the very first election. But conveniently, right before this news breaks, all of a sudden the Democrats are concerned so much about Epstein. And here's the thing about Epstein, okay? If they had Donald Trump doing who knows what on Epstein's Island, the things that they're trying to accuse others of doing with women and underage people, if they had that, then they wouldn't have wasted their time with impeachments. They wouldn't have wasted their time with the New York felony hoaxes. They wouldn't have wasted their time with Jean Carroll. They wouldn't have wasted their time with January 6th. Okay, Donald Trump would be in prison right now. But magically, they did nothing that whole entire time. For the very obvious reason that they have nothing. I think that's the most obvious and easiest answer to come to. This is Occam's razor. But there's nothing to complain the last 4 years, and then nothing to right before the Barack Hussein Obama conspiracy comes out. Because they need you to focus on this. Right? This is the mainstream media and the deep state still trying to flex their muscles, even though they have lost all of their authority, as they're trying to tell you what you should think. But because they have lied to you, because they are the boy who have cried wolf far too many times, no one believes them anymore. And now, even though they're trying to push Russia, just like they're trying to push the hoaxes, just like they're trying to push the impeachments, just like they're trying to push every other hoax, is falling on deaf ears. And in fact, Donald Trump and his administration is becoming more popular. And Jessica Tarlov and the rest, they can't understand why, but listen to her melt down, as this is an amazing thing.
Baltimore.
Oh, no, that's the wrong one. Let's try this one.
Activated, and suddenly they won't be mad at Trump anymore for not releasing the Epstein files or whatever he had to do with any of it. It's preposterous that we were talking about Hillary Clinton's emails again in year 2025.
It's preposterous. I mean, why are you looking over at Hillary Clinton? Okay, why are you looking at Barack Hussein Obama? Why are you looking at Russia? See, we told you to focus on Epstein's files in the Epstein list. I mean, where is the Epstein list? Where is the files? See, that's all the things that they're trying to push now when they didn't seem to need to care for the last 4 years or for the first 5 months of Donald Trump's administration. It wasn't until all this came out that now all of a sudden they're pretending to care about Epstein again. And it's for one very simple reason. It's because they don't want you looking at the Democrats' corruption. So they're trying to do another magic trick with the fake news networks with the help of the deep state. So real quick, let's cover what Barack Hussein Obama and his administration did. Because this is the circle of how the deep state and the fake news and the Democrats work over and over and over again. I call this the three-headed beast from the DC abyss. It also gets called the deep state, and it also gets called the blob. Well, this is how it worked over and over and over again for a very long time, until independent creators finally had a big enough microphone that we could show their lies and show their hoaxes. So it starts out with this. They leak information, being the deep state, that's the first head, over to the mainstream media. Then the mainstream media, they run with sources say, or experts say, and they don't care one bit if they're lying, because they're telling you what they want you to hear. Because they're all in the bag for the Democrats. Whether it be MSNBC, CNN, ABC, NBC, New York Times, LA Times, Washington Post, Political Axios, every single one of them are Team DNC. There is not one journalistic bone in their body. So they're more than happy to lie for the Democrat Party. And they're more than happy to either, one, it's either ignorance, they just don't want to know the truth, or two, they're in on it. It's one of those two answers. And either one is bad for them. Either one, they are just as guilty as the deep state is who's lying, or two, they're too stupid to put this together. It's either or. And either or, why would anyone then watch or believe anything the fake news says anymore? So that's why Epstein is falling on their face. But they still try the same lies that have worked for decades. So then it goes back up to the deep state, and this goes then to the FBI, and they all of a sudden do Crossfire Hurricane to investigate criminal charges against the Trump administration, all because of the leaks to the deep state to the fake news networks. But it was them that leaked it in the first place. The circle works. Then it goes back to the second head, to the mainstream media. The FBI has opened an investigation. The DOJ is investigating. And then it goes back to the deep state. They leak more information, goes back to the fake news, over and over and over and over it goes. The same old hoax. And it looks huge. It looks amplified because all the networks are running based off the exact same story. And not one of them has a journalistic bone. But thanks to us, like thanks to like the CASHLOREN show, who is proven to be right 98% of the time. The other 2%, I make the mistake of asking my wife for her opinion. But none of us are perfect. But do not doubt me for a single second. That is why they're pushing Epstein now. And Tarlov, she just can't understand it. You know, we're telling you to look at this. So why are you not looking at what we're telling you to look at on the left? Why are you talking about Barack Obama? This is old news. All right, this goes all the way back to 2016. Why are we talking about Hillary's emails? Hillary's emails, that was from way back in, Barack Obama's administration. We're not telling you to look at that stuff, even though they plagued us with that for years. And they knew it was a lie, and they knew it was a hoax, and they pushed it anyways on the American people. They put Donald Trump's administration through 2 years of hell and wasted billions of your tax dollars on this hoax. But now that it's coming back, now all the evidence is finally being released, all of a sudden the mainstream media is pretending that they don't want to know and that you shouldn't even be looking. I mean, she's not even asking the questions like, is this real? The hour. Hopefully that is the last time that happens. But we will find out. All right, well, it looks like we're back. It's incredibly embarrassing as I'm back on X now, and I think we'll just end the rest of the streams except for TikTok and over on Spaces now. As there's just a mistake on my end. I hit one wrong thing, and it turned into a whole thing of dominoes. Computer falls over and knocks over the camera and knocks over the iPad, and the whole studio just tipped over while playing live. It's kind of embarrassing. The downside of being live is that when something like that happens, you have no choice. You just have to keep going, and there's nothing else you can do. As opposed like a recording that happens, you can just delete it and no one will ever know the difference. But we do not have that luxury when things are going live. We're going back now. We should share it back out, and we'll finish out the hour, and then we will go on from there. As I was playing the part with Jessica Tarlov, as she was going and she was being part of the fake news networks, and she was going and she was pushing all the same nonsense that they normally push as they're trying to go with Epstein now to get you to focus on Epstein and not focus on what was happening to Barack Hussein Obama and all the corruption that was going on with him and his deep state. But because the fake news has lied to you so much, the American people, they no longer have influence anymore over you. And so she is absolutely melting down. So let me play this clip again as this is Jessica Tarlov freaking out because you're not focused on the Epstein list like she tells you should be.
Activated, and suddenly they won't be mad at Trump anymore for not releasing the Epstein files or whatever he had to do with any of it. It's preposterous that we were talking about Hillary Clinton's emails again in year 2025.
Yeah, it's preposterous that you're not talking about what we told you to talk about. It's preposterous that you're not focused on what the mainstream media tells you to focus on. It doesn't matter if they're lying to you. It doesn't matter if they're hiding information from you. In their minds, they are the liberal elite. They are your betters. And it's their job not to report the news. It's their job to tell you what to think. That's the liberal elite. I mean, they're so arrogant. They're just in their own little world. And because they're in this liberal bubble, because they're in this liberal elite, little Ivy League towers, they don't realize that most of America doesn't agree with them. And they just simply don't think the way that they think. That most of you believe Donald Trump and don't believe them. I don't know all the details that's going on with the Epstein files or the Epstein list. I think Pam Bondi really screwed up big because this is probably one of the worst press things that they've ever done is that she goes and she hands these binders out that were full of nothing. And then she tells them that the files are on her desk and that there is an Epstein list, and then nothing comes of it. It was a huge screw up for her because she created this problem for Trump. What's going to happen in the future? I don't know. But what I do know is this, is that Democrats, they had no interest in Epstein for 4 years when they had power. And if they had Donald Trump doing who knows what on some list or some video on an island or here in the United States, Donald Trump would be sitting in prison right now. There is no way that Merrick Garland or Chris Wray would have hesitated for a single second to either lock Donald Trump up or leak these things out to the fake news networks. Not for a single moment. And that's why I think out of all the possibilities that this is the least likely of being Trump being on the Epstein's list. And also, I think it's very, very convenient and very, very suspicious that when they go and they release all this information, the Epstein list supposedly, calling for it to come out, that it's right before Barack Hussein Obama's emissions come out. Through what he did with Russia. Because on December 8th, he knew from his own intelligence agencies that Russia didn't have the interest or the ability to interfere in our elections. But then they changed that report on December 9th. And that's the one that everybody knows about. That's the one that led to the Steele dossier. That's the one that led to all the investigations, was the one that Barack Hussein Obama's intelligence agencies made up from nothing. And now that that's all coming out, now it's all being declassified, the Democrats are furious. Like, you're not supposed to be looking at that. You know, that's old news. You know, why do you care about what Barack Obama did in 2015? You know, why do you care about Hillary Clinton's emails? We haven't told you to think or care about that. So what are you doing? Why would you do that? We told you to focus on Epstein. So focus on Epstein. But they are the boy that cried sheep. They are the boy that cried wolf to the sheep for far too long. And now because of that, because they've been exposed, they no longer have any influence left over you, the American people. Not a single one. This is why they can't do what they used to do. When they sit there and they lie to you, and they'd actually get away with it. And it was the rise of the independent creators that were able to finally chip away at this, because we were able to show that they were lying over and over and over again. So that they're still running, the fake news is still running Russia to this day. They're still trying to have like Brennan come on and tell them that they did really good intelligence work and that these were the best of the best and that the Russia is real. When they made it up, and they know they made it up. And the fake news even know that December 8th, which is the huge date, because they made up Russia on December 9th, fake news is still lying about it to this day. And they're still trying to use now Epstein as their newest hoax to go after Donald Trump. And I'm not saying bad criminal things didn't happen on Epstein's Island or wherever. And I'm think it's weird that Maxwell is in prison, but there's no one else. There's definitely something more going on there. But to say that this is all about Trump right before Barack Hussein Obama, I don't believe it for a second. But I've seen way too many hoaxes to know exactly what it is. As they try to get out ahead of this. The fake news networks and the Democrats and the mainstream media and all the deep state, they don't want you to know what Barack Hussein Obama did. And so they're trying to lie to you now. This is the newest, the latest hoax. The same that they always do. The deep state leaks out to the mainstream media. These experts go on the mainstream media and lie. And the mainstream media is more than happy to let them to, because that's the same conclusion that they want to come to. Now, they've lost all their influence because of it. And now we are the news now. We are the ones that get to go and we get to show what they've done. And that's why so many of you are now tuning in to independent creators, because you want to know the truth. And speaking of Jessica Tarlov, she continues to lie to the American people. I mean, I don't know how she's even on Fox News, but she is. And she posted this. Let's see, this was, I lost those two when it fell over. So give me just a second and I'll bring up these scripts too so I can show you her post. There it is right there. It'll take just a second to load. But while I'm getting that to load up, she posted this. Since the general election, because the Democrats are furious that you didn't believe them. So this is for those that are on this video side. This is up for those like on TikTok and others. I'll read it. The Democrats have been overperforming on says who? I mean, they're sub 20% now. Whether it be 19% or 17%, it's probably much more lower than what these polls are saying. If that's overpolling to her, then please keep it up. They're sometimes by 30 or 40 points. What? Where is she getting this information from? Meanwhile, Republicans are struggling. Trump is negative 18 on the economy and negative 30 on inflation. No, he's not. No, he is not. He has stopped inflation. The economy is roaring again. And his biggest obstacle now is Powell, who is refusing to drop interest rates when they should be down around 1 or 2%. See, I don't know where she's getting this information from, because it's blatantly lying. But the Democrats, if they are foolish enough to believe this nonsense, I hope so. I hope that they think that they're still on the right side. Because from everything that I've seen, they have learned nothing from 2024's general election. They're doubling down on the wrong side of every single 80-20 issue to the American people. Is that your women's rights, wrong side. You want to talk about the economy, the Democrats are on the wrong side. You want to talk about the border, the Democrats are on the wrong side. You want to talk about the illegal invasion of our country, the Democrats are on the wrong side of that issue too. Every single issue that Americans care about, the Democrats can't point one thing that they can run on. And that's why the only thing that they're willing to do, the only thing they're trying to do is what they've always tried to do is blame Trump, right? It's all Trump's fault. Trump bad, Trump bad, Trump is evil. Of course, not true. None of it is. It's all fakes. It's all a hoax. And it worked for such a long time because there's no real other way to get information out to you, the American people. I mean, an entire generation grew up on fake news and newspapers. And they would watch the evening news or read the newspapers, and they would think that they were being informed without any real way to know the other side of the story. And while they all pretend to be independent, whether it be MSNBC, CNN, ABC, NBC, New York Times, LA Times, Washington Post, Political, or Axios, they all pretended that they were independent, but they were all in the bag for the DNC. Every single one of them are leftist, progressive Democrats. Every single one. Now that is being exposed because of independent creators, now that we have X, now that we have Rumble, now that we have podcasts, and all the other ways to get information out, as we have grown, we're able to show how much they're lying. Their lie often is they marry a truth to a false. They will tell you the facts and information that they want you to know, so you will come to the conclusion that they want you to come to. Because in the mainstream media's mind, it's not their job to inform you. The mainstream media, in their mind, it is their job to tell you how to think. It's there to decide what you do and what you do not get to know. Because they are the liberal elite. And they are your betters. They are smarter than you. They have Ivy League degrees. They are better than you. They shouldn't have to explain themselves to you. They shouldn't even have to have votes. Because this is about social justice. This is about them being right. And you dare to question them. How dare you? You pleb. You uneducated worker. Right? That's how they think of you. I mean, they absolutely despise you. They despise your freedoms and they despise your independence. They think that they are born to rule over you. And we expose them as we chip away at that mirage, at that fake influence that they no longer have. And keep it up, Democrats. Keep learning nothing. Because this is also going to show how good it is for the Republican, our side, versus how bad it is for the Democrat side. As we have announced that the Republicans, that they have outraised the Democrats, the Republicans 16.2 million versus the Democrats 8.6 million in June. Please continue to learn nothing, Democrats. Please do it. And Crockett, Jasmine Crockett, she's absolutely losing her mind. And we talk about how elitist the Democrats are, how out of just touch they are, how they only talk to themselves in their own tiny little bubble. So they don't realize that most people don't agree with them. And so they think it's a good idea to put someone like Jasmine Crockett out in front of a camera. And I say, I agree. I think it's a great idea. So let's hear what Jasmine Crockett has to think about you, the American people, and how the Democrats now are going to have dark money.
Also know that there are donors that I'm sure are going to be willing to make sure that they are investing and making sure that they can take down some of these candidates since they don't want to rule out dark money. I'm sure some dark money gonna pour in on the behalf of the American people. So what I am saying is every tactic, as well as making sure we're touching people.
Yeah, every single tactic to make sure that we're touching people and that we're going to have all this dark money, whatever that means. Is she talking about USAID, NGOs? Is she talking about Act Blue? I don't know. She won't say. She just uses that same language over and over again. See, because the Democrats, they absolutely despise you. I mean, do not doubt that for a single second. They can't stand that they have to justify themselves to you. That the Republicans are now gaining more money than them, more than double, when they've told you for years that you're supposed to hate Republicans and that they are your betters and that they are right. They are the boy that cried wolf for far too long. And I'm glad Jasmine Crockett saying it. I'm glad that the Democrats are learning no lessons, because now they're down to their desperation in the midterms. They know if they don't take back the House, how much farther Donald Trump is going to be able to progress his administration. Because if they do take back the House, you know what they're going to do for the next 2 years. They're going to refuse to bring any bills that the American people want. And they're going to do impeachment after impeachment and fake hoax after fake hoax all over again to try to run out the clock in the Donald Trump administration. But that is failing too. And the Republicans, they have such a good map in 2026. I mean, maybe one of the most favorable maps that there's been in decades. And the Democrats are sub 20% when they have a built-in 34% of the base. Learn nothing. Please continue to learn nothing. But she's not done there as she goes on, and she continues here with this next piece.
We're talking about they're starting to cheat. They've been cheating. Right now, we should be in power. We should be the ones that are controlling the House. The only thing that
the Republicans are cheating? All right, that is what Jasmine Crockett just said. How? What evidence does she have? I mean, we were told for years, right, that you weren't allowed to question elections. That questioning elections was a threat to the democracy, to our democracy. Yet that's Jasmine Crockett doing it right in front of a microphone. I mean, what happened? Which is it? So now is it okay to question elections? Or is it only when the Democrats lose that it's okay to question elections? But the Republicans lose, then that's not okay. I mean, that's what they went after us, right? They call us a threat to democracy. They call us all kinds of names. They tried to lock us up for questioning elections. They called it a threat to our democracy when it's really a threat to their bureaucracy. But now that Jasmine Crockett, why is that okay? Why is it okay for Hillary Clinton to question elections? Why is it okay for Stacey Abrams to say that she doesn't think that Kemp won the election fairly? Why does Hillary Clinton get to say that she believes that Donald Trump knows that he is an illegitimate president? I mean, why was that all okay when Donald Trump isn't allowed to question the 2020 election? Now you have Jasmine Crockett question the 2024 election. She sounds like a threat to our democracy, doesn't she? According to the Democrats' own rules, isn't that a danger to our constitutional republic? Aren't you supposed to accept the results of an election? Well, I guess not when the Democrats lose.
do is be crooked, draw crooked lines, and tell crooked lies. So I am here to tell you that if you think that you can just roll over the Democrats, it is a new day.
Yes, it is a new day. From the Democrats who have learned absolutely nothing, who continue the same lies and same hoaxes. And it's incredible how she can look in the camera and lie. I don't know if that's just like a Democrat thing. I mean, we've been covering Barack Hussein Obama recently, and I'd forgotten how good at lying he was. Or people like Gavin Newsom, who is just slicker than his grease in his hair when he goes and he tells a lie. And just like, there's got some nuances there. And you know, Gavin Newsom, but just like Jasmine Crockett, just empty words. And she thinks as long as she has that black girl attitude, like girl, baby girl, then all of a sudden, all her empty words all of a sudden mean something. As she's talking about there about Texas, who's about to do some gerrymandering, about to redistrict that could give the Republicans more seats. Of course, that's not okay if the Republicans do, right? That's a threat to our democracy, just like questioning elections. But the Democrats, when they redistrict, that's considered okay. See, so the Democrats are allowed to do it, but not the Republicans. Because when the Democrats do it, see, that's about voting rights and that's about equality. But when the Republicans do it, that's a threat to the democracy. No wonder they're polling at under 20%. They deserve it.
Looking forward to making sure that we can respond in kind if they want to play, because we already know that our lines are already jacked up. I already gave you the numbers. You can play with them more if you want to, but just know I'm going to spend every waking day until now.
Please do. I hope we do. I hope you put in front of camera, and I hope you continue to say all that stuff. I want you to do it. I'm almost begging Jasmine Crockett. You know, she should have like a reality TV team with her and just stream herself talking all day long. Please do it. Please continue to show the American people who the Democrats really are. I beg you. I don't want it to stop, not for a single second. And with that, we're going on to the second break. We'll be back after this greedy profit break. This is the CASHLOREN Show. Well, the mainstream media and the Democrats have lost a lot of their influence, and now they are on life support and they're struggling, and they're trying now to push with this Epstein list crap, trying to distract you from what Barack Hussein Obama did to try to usurp Donald Trump's authority as your elected president of the United States of America. And because of this, one of the things that we expose from the Democrats and their friends in the fake news networks and the corporate media is that these are not journalists, that these are just Democrat activists pretending to be journalists. And they've had on their side, they've had the monopoly on information for such a long time that now they don't know how to react. And one of the things I find very interesting and very suspicious about the timing of all this that's happening with the collapse of the mainstream media is it's also the same time that Donald Trump is cutting off USAID and NGOs. I find that very, very suspicious in his timing. As you saw Colbert, as he got canceled, and now it looks like The View might actually be canceled as well, as we had Joy Behar make this Freudian slip today.
Before we go on hiatus, we only have one more show after this. I'm allowed to say that, right?
Too late now.
So it doesn't really matter. Yeah.
Before we go, I wanted to tell people that the tide is turning. The tide is turning, and things are changing. I mean, the ultimate irony would be that Rupert Murdoch will take him down.
Yeah.
Fox News, who created the monster, will take him down.
Oh, they're so bitter. There's nothing worse of the Democrat Party. I mean, the party of weak, pathetic men and miserable women, just like Joey Behar and the rest of the cackling hens on The View. I mean, they've worked their entire decade trying to take Donald Trump down because they told you that Donald Trump was so bad, but you didn't believe it. And you voted Donald Trump back in the office. And they just can't stand it. They can't stand that they don't have any influence left. And now that everything that they've been building up for is collapsing all around them. And we don't know a whole lot about what's happening to The View yet. If they will, they won't be back. She said they're going on hiatus. She didn't say they're being canceled, but we'll see what happens. I personally think it's weird that we cut USAID and then all of a sudden all these liberal shows that we wonder who was watching all of a sudden can't afford it anymore. I mean, how are these people getting paid millions and millions and millions of dollars when they can't influence anybody? I mean, how? And we now are starting to get some answers. And this whole idea that Fox News is going to take Donald Trump down, this is going back. What she's trying to refer to is the Wall Street Journal hit piece with, again, going back to the Epstein that's already not working. And so then they try to double down on it more and talk about some letter Donald Trump wrote decades ago and drew a picture onto Epstein. And then we find out later the reason why Donald Trump is suing him is they don't even have this letter. As far as we know, they've never even seen it. They just took some word for it and then printed it as if it was gospel. And even if it were true, right? Even if Donald Trump did write a letter to Epstein wishing him a happy birthday all these years ago, so what? And so what? Why? Why does that? Do they think that this is going to be what finally takes Donald Trump down? They are completely and utterly delusional, not just about that, but they're still trying to pretend that they're somehow neutral journalists. This brings up Catherine Rampell, who has been 11 years calling at the Washington on the WPO. And in this, she has admitted that this is her last column. This was last night. And I want to take you back to, I think it was the best moment of her career when she tried to pretend, just like The View is, that she's not an activist for the Democrat Party, that she's somehow a journalist, and watch Scott Jennings take her down.
Was going to exact vengeance.
You still don't understand how you lost. He ran on
Don't
immigration.
say me. I'm not a Democrat.
He ran on
He ran on immigration.
I'm a
He
journalist.
ran on inflation.
I'm not here paid
He
to
ran
represent
on-
one of the many things
he ran on in addition to
he ran on
revenge.
the
Yes, she is. Yes, she is a propagandist for the Democrat Party. She is a hardcore leftist loon. To make up one of her other great hits here this is her opinion. Doug Emhoff, modern day sex symbol, with Kamala Harris's husband. Emhoff is secure enough with his own masculinity to sometimes prioritize his wife's ambitions over his. What a hump. See, Democrats, what is their party? Weak, pathetic men and miserable women. That's what makes up the Democrat Party. And I don't know of an article headline in opening there that can describe it better than that. Please continue to learn nothing. Now she's gone. She says she's going to be part of MSNBC. Don't know, don't care. Not one bit, because they are in a lot of trouble. Good. As they have lied to the American people for far too long, and this is the cost of doing so. This should be merit-based. You go broke. I'm not a Democrat propagandist. I'm a journalist. That she can say it like that and think that anybody believes her. The only thing that makes CNN even remotely watchable is the clips of Scott Jennings. Because it's just a bunch of liberal loons running their mouths, just like MSNBC and all the rest. We expose them every single day because they don't want you focusing on what Barack Hussein Obama did to our country. They don't want you talking about how he tried to usurp President Trump's authority. And now all of his people in his administration are absolutely panicking because they're being referred to the DOJ for criminal charges, including Barack Hussein Obama. And to talk about this for a brief moment, because there's a lot of misinformation about Barack Obama, there's people saying that he can't be arrested because of presidential immunity. And that is just simply not true. It's a blatant lie. He can be arrested. Now, he does have certain protections. He does have protections for official acts while being president. And the Supreme Court, when they ruled on this, they were very broad in their definitions because they didn't want to take a hard stance. And so this was something that'd be tough to litigate, admittedly. But the idea that Barack Hussein Obama has blatant immunity for anything he does is just not true. And even if he did have immunity while he's president, he doesn't have immunity while he's not president. The thing he did after is fair game. So yes, Barack Hussein Obama can be arrested. And yes, Barack Hussein Obama can be prosecuted. And so can everyone else in his administration, including Comey, including Obama himself, including Clinton, including Brennan, and including all the other ones, including Clapper, as he is also lawyered up. And then here's Turley as he's starting to explain how deep of trouble that they're in.
It does appear that a couple of these figures may have committed perjury. I think the most vulnerable may be Brennan, who's like a 30-point buck now out in the open. I mean, this stuff goes directly to information that he gave to Congress. It seems to be in contradiction. And so there are real questions here. I mean, people talk about, well, you can't charge Obama. That's very likely the case. He's probably protected. But these individuals, whether it's Comey or Brennan, are not protected from perjury charges if the statute of limitations has not run. They are more likely to be called again to repeat prior testimony.
Right, exactly what he said there. This is the trap that they're in now, is that they lied to Congress, and lying to Congress is a criminal act. But in their own arrogance, they never thought that they'd be held accountable because they've been protected by the two-tier justice system for such a long time that they didn't think anything would ever happen to them. They truly believed that Donald Trump and his administration would never, ever come back. But it did. And now we're here. And now they very well should end up in prison. And we're going to find out what Palm Bounty's made of. We're going to find out what Kash Patel is made of. When we're going to find out if they're actually willing to hold these people accountable who have not been held accountable for their entire lives. When they went mercilessly under Donald Trump for 2 years for Russia, when they knew that it was false because they made it up themselves. You had Brennan, who falsified the documents under the order of Barack Hussein Obama, according to the classified documents that have now been released by Tulsi Gabbard. Well, we conspiracy theorists were 100% right again. Locked them all up. I hope so. I mean, isn't that what we're told over and over again? Isn't Hillary Clinton and all the others told us that nobody's above the law? Well, now it's time to prove it. Now it's time to show them what is actually going to happen here, because this just continues to get worse for the Democrats. One of the other parts that have gone a little bit under the radar today, everything else is happening, is that Joe Biden's chief of staff, Ron Klain, came into Congress to testify. And the other people that have come in to testify under the Biden administration have been pleading the fifth, including his doctor. And now what does this doctor have to plead the fifth about? I mean, isn't the doctor just giving testimony about his medical records and what he observed? And that his opinions were truthful and honest? Or is that why he's pleading the fifth? Because the only way the reason to plead the fifth is to say that you're covering up your crimes, is to not testify against yourself. So what is he hiding? And now more, the Klain is coming in, and we don't know what he said yet, but he was in there for hours, and he didn't plead the fifth once, apparently. Apparently he answered every question. Did he commit perjury? I don't know. Is it about the fall down and what exactly happened inside the Biden administration? Are we about to find out how deeply involved Barack Hussein Obama was or was not in the Biden administration? I mean, we need to know many answers, like who was actually running the White House, because it certainly wasn't the vegetable Joe Biden. I don't think there's any debate on that side. And the Biden administration, one of the many harms they did to this country is that they opened their borders and allowed tens of millions of illegal aliens to come into our country. And Donald Trump elected to deport every last one of them. Now the left has had their new hoax. They're now losing their minds again, all because Donald Trump is doing something that is very smart. Now, if you're coming to this country illegally, you may get shackled now with GPS, those little monitors that they use for people who are out on bail for prison sentences or jail sentences, or they get home arrest and they'll have an ankle monitor. Well, now they're starting to do that because they can track illegal aliens. I mean, this has something to do with their court dates as well. So then it makes the government easier to track them. Good. And then deport them. Good. This is 100% what we voted for. This is what we want. We want to know who they are. We want to know where they are. And we want to get them out of our country. The left can scream humanity and they can cry their fake victim tears all they want, but it won't work. It's falling on deaf ears again because you voted for this. And Donald Trump now is getting more popular deportations, not less popular. And it pains fake news to have to admit that Donald Trump now is more popular. And actually, most Americans want every single illegal alien to be deported from this country. Every last one. Good. They must. And the White House, they released a video earlier today. This is from DHS. And the video they released was showing illegal aliens being loaded up on the planes and then shipped off the United States. And when they released this video, they had this song going from Frank Sinatra's Come Fly With Me. Yeah, I don't know who's running the White House in all of their accounts. I'd love to play it for you, but I'm afraid I'd get demonetized or strike for playing music, since social media is getting really intense on that. You have to have all the right licenses. But it is absolutely hilarious. Keep it up, please. Because they also had to admit, like even on CNN, that no one's turning to Trump over Epstein. And no one's turning on Trump on deportations. Because this is what we want. And with that, we are going to end today's show. However, I'm going to stick around for a few minutes. We're going to be exclusively on TikTok. And we'll wrap up the show then and then see if anyone wants to come back on stage and share their thoughts. So we'll be back again tomorrow, hopefully not knocking over my entire system. And we'll talk to you then. This is the Cash Loren Show. Well, independent thinkers, we have come to the top of another hour. The rest of the stories have to go back in the stack. If you enjoyed this content, take a moment, hit the subscribe, turn on notifications, most importantly, share a conservative message with your friends and family. We will be back Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern here on the CASHLOREN Show. We will go and we will expose and fight the fake news networks who have been getting away with lying to you for decades. Our content will always be free, but if you'd like to support more, you can do so monetarily over at locals at the CASHLOREN Show. And there's great rewards and benefits for doing so. For only about a cup of coffee a month, you will receive exclusive articles and you'll have your name at the end of the video, just like these other fine patriots have. If that sounds interesting to you, go over to locals right now for just a cup of coffee a month and help independent creators stay free, keep the lights on, and continue to expose the fake news networks. We'll see you again on the next episode. This is the CASHLOREN Show.